Good afternoon and welcome to the meeting of Glenorchy City Council this Monday, the 25th of May 2026. My name is Sue Hickey. I'm the Mayor of Glenorchy and Chairperson for this afternoon's meeting. Glenorchy City Council acknowledges the Muwinina people as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land and waters of this island literature. We pay our respect to Aboriginal elders past and present, and we commit to working in a way that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Joining me here in Council is Alderman Riddler, thank you, Alderman Justin Stringer, Councillor Molly Kendall, Alderman Tim Marks, Alderman Russell Yaxley, who's also our Deputy Mayor, Emilio Reali, our CEO, Alderman Stephen King, Alderman Stuart Slade, Alderman Josh Cockshut, and Alderman Shane Alderton. Before we open our agenda, I take this opportunity to make a statement about workplace health and safety. Glenorchy City Council takes workplace health and safety seriously, and this includes physical and psychological safety. We have a duty to ensure that a safe workplace is provided for our employees, elected members, contractors, volunteers and members of the public who may be present at Council's workplaces. Council meetings form part of Council's workplace and it is expected that everyone who attends Council meetings will behave in a polite and respectful manner. Council has endorsed a statement of intent setting out how we as elected members have agreed to conduct ourselves in representing the people of Glenorchy. In accordance with this, any disagreement should be expressed respectfully, remembering both during debate and decision making that we are elected to represent and serve the people of Glenorchy and to make our city the best it can be. Finally, I note that the open section of this meeting is being live streamed and an audio-visual recording of the meeting will occur in accordance with Council's recording of Council meetings policy. Members of the public are not permitted to make audio-visual recordings of the Council meetings. We have 12 items on our agenda this afternoon and agenda item 1 is apologies, and obviously we have no apologies for this afternoon. Full house attendance, which is excellent. Now, confirmation of the minutes of the open meeting for Monday the 27th of April 2026. Thank you very much, Alderman Marks, seconded by the Deputy. Alderman Marks, do you have some?
No, just that the minutes are true and correct.
Okay. Deputy, anything? Anyone else? No? Well, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously, thank you. Pecuniary interest notification. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest in any matter before tonight? No? 5, response to previous public questions taken on notice. Oh, goodness me, I've missed my 5 minutes of fame. Item 3, announcements by the Chair. Right, now you'll be pleased to know this is a lot shorter than normal, but that does not reflect the work that's been going on. Right, there's significant work going on, and particularly with our world famous Glenorchy pool. In fact, it actually says significant progress has been made across all areas of the project with the head contract at over 80% complete. Now, I think last week we said it was 82%, it's probably 82.5%. This is where it slows down. You don't see the big drastic movements of soil and things like that, but it's all these finishing details that are going to make this project so wonderful. The change room building is nearing completion with the building ready for final occupancy certificate. Works on the pool structure are progressing well with key elements including the accessible ramp, structural repairs and surface preparation largely complete. Testing and final preparations for pool painting are now underway. In the plant room, critical infrastructure has been installed including a new switchboard, which is fabulous news, ventilation, sewer systems and pumps supporting the future operation of this facility. Across the broader site, grandstand and service works are complete and well advanced alongside installation of water heating systems and solar infrastructure. I do agree, it's looking fantastic. The Changing Places facility has been delivered with access works and parking now underway following approval of a temporary occupancy permit. Overall, the project remains on track for completion of the head contract within this financial year. Following that, Council will continue its final site works and landscaping to ensure the facility is ready to start at the opening of the season on the 1st of October. So I think it was a huge project, and I hope everyone's patient with us while we progress with these works, but the outcome is stunning. Now, the Youth Hub and Outdoor Court, this Thursday afternoon drop-in sessions are getting good attendance by young people after school between 3 and 5 p.m. This arrangement will run through until the end of June while we get our operating procedures in place and fully tested. From the 1st of July, the hub will be open 5 days a week from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We are currently recruiting youth engagement officers to start the hub. And if you're wondering why it's those times, that's sort of after school and before they catch the bus. The outdoor multi-use court just outside the hub has been installed, painted and is ready for use. And I think you'll find it blends in beautifully to the gardens. Cooper Street mural, now this is good. The mural being painted by Jarman and Luke Emerton is almost complete on the wall at the Glenorchy Central in Cooper Street. I think you'll agree also that this one is looking fabulous. Road Safety Week events. Last week, Council acknowledged Road Safety Week by lighting the chambers up in yellow, promoting road safety messages and by hosting 2 events. On Wednesday, we partnered with Glenorchy Police at a pop-up stall at Northgate Shopping Centre, where the public had an opportunity to speak with the police and council staff about how to stay safe on our roads. I've been going to quite a few of these sort of pop-up things with the police, a couple with the cops and these type of things. The police are so engaging and the public actually like coming up and talking to them and asking them questions and things. The police brought along one of their motorbikes, which was very popular with the adults and children alike. On Friday, we hosted a National Road Safety Week barbecue on the front lawns of Council from 2:30 to 3:30, where the community joined us for a free barbecue and some road safety activities and giveaways. They just had a simple little puzzle, but it was a lot harder than we thought. The graffiti removal at Wilkinson's Point Pavilion. This is not so nice a story, but the works team have been busy removing graffiti from the pavilion at Wilkinson's Point. It's extremely disappointing that people deface our public assets, but I'm grateful to the team who worked tirelessly to remove this senseless vandalism. And with your indulgence, CEO, I heard the figure today of what that's cost?
3,500.
Yeah. So not only defacing something that's beautiful like that area out there, and it's just so painful, and then it's costing the ratepayers of Glenorchy $3.5 grand.
Through you, is there any accountability for those people if they're in a court doing that? Is it a charge? Is it a chargeable offence?
I guess there are, but it depends on their age and things like that. Has there been any follow-up?
There was no CCTV footage that could capture them doing it because the camera's inside the pavilion, and to reach out that far, they must use some sort of spray gun or a super soaker or something to reach out that far.
Yeah, we had at our sports centre last week on a Friday night. We had them captured on video, but the police said nothing they could do. So I just wondered whether we had any further. That was at Clarence though, so.
Oh, another suburb.
Yes, I shouldn't have brought that up, Clarence.
Thank you. National Volunteer Week lunch. Last week, Alderman Marks and I joined various volunteer groups working across Glenorchy at a thank you barbecue lunch at the Chigwell Community Gardens. It was absolutely fantastic. If anyone hasn't been up to those Chigwell Gardens to see the magnificent work of our staff, oh, there's me on the lawnmower. You can tell by the hard hat, the fluoro vest and the big steel boot shoes. That is just a posed photo, obviously. But anyway.
You didn't mow the lawns a bit.
I did mow them a little bit, but that thing's not really fast, not my style. Anyway, the gardens are magnificent. They produce some of the most amazing vegetables, and they're freely given out to residents and volunteers and anyone who needs some food. So I do recommend the work of that garden group. At this event, participants were invited to plant some winter veggies, spread some kindness by making Be Kinder cards, and get creative and divert waste by painting CD scarecrows. The CCTV cameras Installation of CCTV along the intercity cycleway has commenced across a number of hotspots identified by the police. The first installation site between the Granada and Claremont service station is almost complete and will be followed by the installation of cameras at the cycleway at Moona and Glenorchy. Like our other cameras, these will be linked to the Glenorchy Police Station's Operations Centre, so they have real-time footage of what is happening across Glenorchy and the ability to review stored data from the cameras. Okay, that's all from me. And now we'll move to item 5, response to previous questions taken on notice. There are none. Public question time for today. We have a question on notice from Maurice Malone, who is talking about identifying high volume traffic corridors, and there's an extensive answer to how the hierarchy of roads plays into that and how they identify whether the road needs modification. There are no petitions addressing council meetings. I mean, I actually have to ask if there's any further questions. So, before we do that, we have the little rule book. The council meeting is a formal meeting of the elected members elected by the Glenorchy community. It is chaired by the Mayor. Public question time is an opportunity in the formal meeting for the public to ask questions of their elected council representatives about the matters that affect ratepayers and citizens. In accordance with Regulation 31(2) and 3, Public Question Time, Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2025, Council will allocate up to 15 minutes during each council meeting to invite members of the public to ask questions relating to the activities. Now, it's important to note that the questions must relate to the activities of the council. Members of the public are to announce their name and residential address before asking a question, which will be recorded in the minutes. Questions are to be put succinctly and in the form of a question, not a comment. Questions must not be inflammatory, abusive, defamatory, or contain a personal attack or otherwise breach any rules of the meeting which have been explained by the chairperson. The chairperson may limit the number of questions asked by each member of the public in order to ensure that all members of the public wishing to ask questions are given the opportunity within the allocated time. And then it goes on to say that the chairperson will choose the order, and we may refuse to answer a question if the chairperson deems that it's inappropriate and does not comply with the rules, or take a question on notice if we don't know the answer immediately, in which case it will be provided in writing prior to the next council meeting and included on the agenda for the next council meeting. Excuse me. If a question is taken on notice, the chairperson may request that the member of the public submit their question in writing and may refuse to provide a response if the question is not provided as requested. The 15 minutes allocated for public question time may be extended at the chairperson's discretion, and council will publish information relating to question time, including any additional rules and procedures on its website. So we've already dealt with Maurice Malone's question. Do I have any questions from the floor? Thank you, Ms. Craig.
Marla Cruz, Naval Place, Glenorchy. My question to council is, does council propose having gender neutral toilets? And I asked this question after Tickle versus Giggle, the test case, and my concern is an exclusive safe place for women. It's a very divisive subject, but we've got to make the decision as to whether we feel safe in that particular place, because with these toilets, you have someone who identifies as a male, as a female, that is physiologically a male. So what is council's?
Well, we do have all gender toilets, and I know it's a contentious issue in the community, but generally they're designed with shared hand washing. Then there's a space in the middle where people can mingle, you know, to go and get their hands washed and wait for a cubicle. And the cubicles you can go into and lock the door. And the main benefit is that a father with a young daughter or a mother with a young boy can use these facilities. They're accepted pretty well in all modern facilities and buildings now. I'm not certain whether we actually have a council policy on it though, do we, CEO?
Not specifically, Mayor, and I think some of our older toilets are still male, female, but the newer ones we're doing are definitely, gender neutral.
Maybe look at Lunar Arts Centre.
The Moon Arts Centre, yes.
And I think what Tickle versus Giggle is asking for, they want the right to walk into a female toilet because they identify as female. And that brings me to my second question, which is with regard to the pool, because we're going to have change rooms there. Would we have exclusive change rooms for people who are female and physiologically female? I ask because it does open the, we are opening the door to predators coming in and saying that they're transitioning. And that could be
Okay,
men.
I'll just pull you up on that. I don't think being trans necessarily makes you a predator, but we
No,
do
that's
have,
not what I'm saying.
yeah, but we do have separate change rooms dedicated to females and separate change rooms dedicated to males. And then I think there's an all gender one as well, is there two?
No, I can answer that. Mayor, so with regards to the swimming pool, so there is male and female change rooms, but there are also a range of family change rooms and accessible change rooms, which can be locked up independently.
Oh, that's good.
With regards to our public toilets, whilst they're gender neutral, the toilets are each lockable. So it just provides a much broader range of toilets for anyone to use. Each toilet can be locked, but then you have a hand washing area, which is usually in a visible spot which anyone can use. So they're also much more efficient, as well as providing for inclusive spaces. Yeah.
Good. I just want to point out that I'm not saying that trans people are predators. I'm just saying it gives predators an opportunity, because it did happen at a pub across the road where a man walked into the female toilet, and when he was brought out, he said, "I'm transitioning." So,
Well, yes, I think what I want to say there is, can you send me that article or link to whatever that show is?
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great, yeah. But at the moment, the policy is where we're putting in gender neutral toilets with some exceptions.
right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Eddie Steinberg, thank you.
I'm Eddie Steinberg and I live in Rosetta. My first question relates to the closed workshop everyone in the room had after our last open workshop. I gather it was conducted by an external firm of consultants, and the description here is funding insights. I'm curious to know what it was about. I was wondering if anyone could enlighten an example of one of these insights.
Okay.
To give me an idea of what it's about.
First of all, because it was enclosed, because the data has pretty much been collated, put together by Hobart City Council, so it's their data. So they're
My question,
yeah. But basically the data was about funding for Clark as opposed to other political regions. So, you know, whether or not it's pork barrelling or whatever, but Clark does not get an equal share by any measure. But we weren't allowed to. I did actually ask if we could put that one into the open, and it's because we don't own the data, and Hobart want to keep propriety of it.
Mayor, I believe it will be made public at a later date once some of the other info is confirmed.
I think that didn't make myself clear. I'm not interested in the data. I'm interested in what it's about.
Yes.
Sort of the topics.
Yes, and whether we go to Lions or remain in Clark is another sort of variable. But the interesting thing is they're intending to keep it live and updated all the time, so that for all the future elections, they've got something to whack pollies with.
Thank you. My second question is about an item on your list of activities. And sometimes I have trouble understanding why items on the list are there.
Why,
So-
so what's the
so-
last part?
Well, there's an item on the list and I do not understand why it's there, so I'm asking you,
Yeah, that's right. Which one?
the uni review.
Oh, the uni review. Well, that's one where all the politicians were given free tickets. So it's just accounted for, then it's accounted on the gift register. So it's all documented.
I'm not questioning it.
It's
I'm
supporting the
trying to
arts,
understand
really.
how it relates to council.
Yeah, well, it was quite informative, I can tell you. Not in a good way.
Okay, thank you. And finally, it's in the economic development strategy. There's a mention of the Berrydale Caravan Park development ready. There are many in Glenorchy who have long since despaired or given up on the idea that the Caravan Park may ever actually turn into anything useful. So I'd like to understand what it is that is in fact holding it up. There's a mention in here of Taswater. So what is the hold up?
The stink from Cameron Bay, from outdated
I understood that was
sewer
fixed.
pots.
I understood that was fixed.
No.
Yeah,
Theo?
I can explain a bit more. So, there was some work done on the, repairing, or trying to, eliminate the odour coming from the treatment plant. The work that was done didn't remove it all, so there's still a certain amount of, odour emissions coming from the plant. To fix it and gather all the odours from all the components, it's a considerable cost, a capital expenditure of around $10 million. And PSP5 with their capital program, Price and Services Plan 5 that Taswater put to the economic regulator would have had a component of funding to fix that, because the economic regulator reduced the amount of capital spending that they were proposing. They are having to reprioritise and regroup as to what will be done, and the odour repairs project is in that mix, but we're still unaware whether it's going to get a priority in the next or the upcoming financial years. So there is a willingness to try and sort it out and fix it so that we can progress the development, but at this point in time, we're still unsure whether it will come forward.
Yeah, your despair is recognised even in the tourism industry. We had a meeting about it last week, so.
So to be clear, that is the only outstanding issue?
Yes. Yes. So, but bearing in mind that the time it's taken, there's probably the need for a new development application, everything else to go through the process. So there will be a few other follow-on things that need to be completed if they do happen to repair it. So.
Okay, thank you, I'm done.
Thank you. Now, we had no petitions addressing council meetings.
No.
And we've done activities of the mayor, 8.1. Someone happy to move this one? Thank you, Shane. Alderman Alderton. And did I say yes? Alderman Tim Marks. Okay, Alderman Alderton.
Yes, okay, you've been very busy, Mayor, in the community, doing a lot of activities. But I'd just like to mention something, and if it's possible, we can maybe get this noted on the minutes. Quite often around times, you're asked to go to multiple events and you can't attend all those, Anzac Day being a perfect example. Is it possible to have noted in the minutes others that attend events on your behalf? So it's actually an activity of the Mayor that the Mayor can't attend, but you send another representative, so.
No, I have no problem with that personally whatsoever. It's become what they call open good governance to show where, politicians of all stripes are supposed to open up their diaries to the public. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, like, Marcus Vermey gets recorded because he's not a minister.
Yeah.
But by all means, I think we can have a discussion at it. I'll get the CEO to look into it for ELT, but I'm more than happy, and I'm very grateful for everyone who goes to represent me at some of these things, because like the one I went to yesterday went for 5 hours on a Sunday. So, and then you've got prep to get there and time to get back. So they take a lot of time out of your day, and anyone giving up time to help represent the council, I'm very grateful. So by all means, you're welcome to have any recognition that goes with that. But mine is presented because I think most councils are doing this now, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, now.
Nothing further.
Nothing further. Anyone else got a statement or question? No? Okay, then I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we're
He's not
doing.
here, not here.
Oh, yes, we'll just wait till, Ms. Alderman King gets back.
Well, it could be a bit longer.
Okay, we'll proceed then.
William is leaving the room.
On your recommendation, 9.1, we're going to start talking about the 2020-25 Economic Development Strategy Review. Who would like to move this one? Okay, thank you, Alderman Marks. Who would like to second it? Thank you very much, Alderman Slade. Okay, Alderman Marks.
Not much to say, other than we need to accept it because it's getting all our policies and procedures up to date is something that's I've looked at, read a lot of, and noticed that they are really out of date and need to be changed. And I'm very happy with the review, because I sat there and read it all day yesterday and I think it's really good.
Thank you. Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. I've just got a couple of questions. Can we just clarify why we're rescinding all the policies before another, like all the policies and plans before we've got a new policy endorsed, or should we be doing this at the same time? I just want to get some understanding of the steps why we're doing it early.
Mayor, we've got a new economic development plan ready, which we workshop council last week before. We didn't quite have it ready we made a few more final adjustments. We didn't quite have it ready for this agenda. There is no legislative requirement to have an economic development plan or strategy. So there's no requirement to make sure that you're approving one before you rescind another. So yes, we recognise that there is a gap between rescinding these and approving another one. But because the review of the current plan was undertaken, it highlighted that we have a lot of strategies and other plans that are being referred to by some members of the public that really don't have any relevance to what council's direction is at the moment. So hence the reason we'd like to tidy up all of these outstanding plans and then introduce a new one at the June council meeting.
Okay. And if that plan then, or that future one in June, is then delayed for whatever reason, we're comfortable with that time frame, like we're hoping to do it sooner rather than later. I guess that was my
we'd like to, I guess for efficiency's sake, have another plan there in place, because we can start working on the action plan as soon as possible. But as I mentioned, there's not really an imperative to have an economic development plan. We're doing it because by choice, and we actually want to try and drive a bit of economic activity in Glenorchy. So yeah, sooner the better.
Yep, that's good. I think it's excellent that we're cleaning house and getting prepared for the future and being ready to go. We've got obviously a number of plans and strategies, like we mentioned, that aren't necessarily pulling their weight or haven't got the funding that we're sort of dedicating to it. So it's going to enable us to have a really clear strategy and actions, which will hopefully enable good economic activity in our city, and it really helps us to create that real definition and design. So I'm looking forward to reading the final Prosperous Glenorchy policy.
Thank you. Anyone else with contribution? Thank you, Alderman Slade.
Yeah, just one, Mayor. Just on page 16, on the 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, those figures don't add up.
Yeah, if I might, yes, I did identify a typo after we confirmed the agenda, and it's in a couple of paragraphs above, we've said that the strategy includes
Yes.
5 objectives and 50 actions, and then later we say of the 20 actions,
Yeah.
that should read 50. So that is a typo. I
Okay.
apologise that one did slip through.
Thanks for letting me that one see out. And then I found that down the bottom of the recommendation, I just found the language for number 3 was different than the thrust of the language in paragraph 2, 3 and 4. So it's different language. So it was talking about superseded, outdated, no longer relevant, and up the top here, we're talking about not being completed. That it is different. It's different language. So I'm just wondering, can we just mix it so it's? I'm always very a bit of a stickler that for endorsements or anything to do with the final resolution that they are succinct with what's in the report. That's all. If you change it, I don't mind.
Yeah, Mayor, point taken. I guess we'll try to explain the reason why we've undertaken
Yes.
a review and then moving to rescind or reposition
and-
some of those. Because
I've read it through and I understand but I think on this, we asked for this executive summary when we went to this model, and I just want to make sure the executive summary and the recommendations mirror each other. So.
It sort of does, because in that same chapter that, paragraph that you referred to, it does say 16 have not proceeded either due to lack of market interest. No, that's not one. There's one there that says the same thing: superseded, are outdated or no longer relevant. I don't know where I saw that now. Oh, here we are. It's on the paragraph below. And plans that are now outdated or no longer relevant and should be rescinded. So do you want it changed or?
Well, I just don't see where it says that the ones are under. I just think that paragraph 3 should mirror what the actions we're going to do in paragraph 4. So I'm talking about point 3 of the recommendation should mirror what we're saying in paragraph 4. That's all. Terminology.
Mayor, you possibly could just delete recommendation 3 because it is just to note.
I know.
That's up to the floor. Does someone want to move as an amendment or?
Well,
You want an amendment?
move in a second.
I'm happy to move that we delete recommendation 3.
Okay, so we have Alderman Peter Riddler and Alderman Tim Marks as the seconder. So we'll move that amendment. All those in favour?
To remove number 3.
Remove 3, it's only a note. It's only a note.
Yeah, I'm not going to vote for it because I see it in paragraph 5. So anyway, hands in favour, please.
Sorry, did we have a second?
Yes, Alderman Marks was the seconder, so.
He was the mover of the first.
Oh, okay, so you moved it, yes, you
Yes,
moved
he was, so
it,
you
you moved
can't.
it, so you can't second it. Someone, do you want to second it? Who else was supporting it?
So who moved it, Alderman Riddler?
Yeah, Alderman Riddler moved it.
The amendment.
You had a seconder.
I'll second.
All right, Alderman Slade, no, he seconded the first part of it.
No, I didn't. Sorry, mate.
I've got Alderman Marks and Alderman Slade.
Yeah, you seconded.
Oh, I did, sorry. I do apologise.
Okay, I'm running out of people. I think it's going to lapse due to lack of interest. Okay, thank you. So we'll stay with the substantive motion.
Yep.
Anyone else got a commentary on the substantive motion? Yes, thank you. Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so I feel quite torn about this one. And it's about the gap that the Deputy Mayor mentioned as well. I don't feel comfortable rescinding. It's just a huge swathe of policies without us knowing what the prosperous Glenorchy plan looks like in its entirety. And I appreciated the workshop where we bounced it around. Yeah, I mean, from what's in front of us, I get that it was a very ambitious vibe from the previous economic development context, which, I understand all changed when COVID came along, and now we're scaling it back, so it's more reflective of what we do. But yeah, it was a huge investment at the time. And while I believe in not over-promising and under-delivering, I think for transparency, we should offer the community what we're putting in place as we're rescinding it. So, I mean, economic development is a huge kind of realm, which is way above my pay grade personally, but I know there's some really key features of it. And I know, especially in terms of a context like we're in right now, where there's real economic constriction, just scaling back is important, of course, but then really targeted investment and stimulus is really important as well. So I would love to see some concepts of circular economy and local wealth building, and the things that are really going to set up our residents to be well placed for this troubled economic times to come. So I guess my question is, who, considering the investment that was put into this previous plan and considering all of the policies that we're looking at rescinding, what resources within council will we be putting towards developing the prosperous Glenorchy plan?
Yeah, that plan is already developed, and it's. I think we received a little bit more feedback after the workshop that we conducted with elected members. We've made those amendments, hence the reason why it didn't make this council meeting. So there will be no further resources required. It will be a matter of writing the report and bringing it to the next agenda.
We won't seek external kind of consultant advice or economic development expertise or
No, ma'am. All that part's already done.
internal. Okay. Okay. So I'm thinking what I would be more comfortable with is postponing this until the new plan's introduced. So if that's the June meeting, bringing what's going to be rescinded at the same time as the prosperous Glenorchy plan is on the table, just so the community can see what's getting lost in the wash. You know what I mean?
Well, hold on a minute. That's a what's the motion?
Alternative.
No, not an alternative. That's to rescind. Yeah, procedural motion.
Just deferring it. Or she wants to defer it to the next
Deferral is a procedural. Was it Hobart?
Well, my plan would be to vote against it, and against all these policies being rescinded today, and then I would expect that it would come back to next meeting at the same
So
time.
if you go for a procedural motion, which is to defer it, nobody gets a chance to argue back against it until afterwards. Yeah. So.
Right, just put the motion.
Okay, yeah, sure. That's fine. Well, my plan is to vote against this passing today, and that's my explanation as to why.
Right, thank you. Alderman Alderton.
Thank you, Mayor. I would actually like to move a motion to rescind this motion and bring it back to the next council meeting, along with the prosperous Glenorchy plan. If I could have somebody second that motion.
You rescind or defer?
Yeah, rescind. So I'm just wondering, has everyone read this paper? It's like we're reading two different papers. Can I refer you all to page 21, where each of these policies up for rescinding is explained, like COVID specific, so archive website content. It's a bit like the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning. We're getting rid of policies that are confusing, repetitive, conflicting, don't fit modern standards, are outdated, disbanded. If there's comments like retain but reposition as advocacy rather than an active economic development program, no longer relevant and viable, rescind and archive, outdated. I mean, holding on to them doesn't make any sense. We have had a workshop on a new version. Feedback was given, was taken back. Or this one, beyond the flannelette curtain. That was got to be one of the most disgraceful things to reinforce and dumb down Glenorchy I've ever heard. Why would we want that living on our website? Right? We're trying to build the city up, and we're leaving on a website something that, makes us sound like a city of bogans. Trash talk.
Oh, sorry.
Mayor, I've just got a question. I've read the documents, and I trust my colleagues have done the same regarding this. I suppose my question is, I want the introduction, this new process, the introduction, to be as brief. That's the idea of it. I just thought in this one, had we transferred some of those ones into there why they were going, right, or weren't being action, that would have overcome this? That's my question.
But all I'm saying is, sorry, if I can do a
Point of order. So we've got a motion that's been put and seconded.
Who
We
seconded it?
need to consider it.
Oh, Molly, I beg your pardon.
So do we need
to
to be considering that before we have general debate, or if we've spoken to it, do we need to have then questions rather than
Yes, all right,
statements?
we'll put the motion?
No.
No, it's
you want to
amendment.
discuss.
Got to discuss it first.
We'll discuss.
So you're happy for me to open conversation on this?
Yes.
And Mayor, I get your point probably that 90% of these things we want to rescind are irrelevant. But there are some there, for example, like the marine environment precinct and others that probably still need to be open to discussion and maybe looked at, because they may move over and become part of the new Glenorchy prospectus plan. So I understand where everybody's coming from today and talking about this. And at some stage, yes, we do need to rescind this policy, but I feel we need to do it in the correct, appropriate manner. And that is when we have another policy to look at that addresses the small number of concerns in this policy and resolves it.
And fair enough, but may I point out, point of order, that one, Marine and Innovation Precinct, action, do not rescind the master plan.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that motion within, this motion within itself contradicts itself then, doesn't it? Because it's rescinding some things and not rescinding others, but you're moving a motion to rescind this motion or to rescind this plan. So how can you rescind something but retain something within the document?
You're saying it's too general.
Sorry, this has gone off the rails somewhere. Approve the formal repositioning, rescinding, or archiving of these materials identified through the review. So yes, they're all listed, but they're not all for rescinding. This is why this reading papers is so important.
Yeah.
Our staff have done so much work. Yes, there's a brief executive summary to save those who don't want to necessarily dig into the weeds, but in the weeds, there is all that information relating to every one of those outdated and no longer relevant. Now, if you still want to continue it and resend it and send it back through councillors for the council officers for a lot more work, you're going to get another bite of the cherry when the new plan comes through. Let's see.
I don't know if the TVs have gone off, but I think what the mayor's trying to say is in point one where it says endorse a report, and in the report on the attachment, it does go through the one by one, which is the one you've just said in regards to the marine plan. So it's not an overall gut, it's listed all the policies and procedures, and all we're doing with this motion is if it says A, keep, B, rescind, that's all that is enclosed in this motion point one. In my interpretation of it. So we're just following through based on the report on the individual motions themselves. So that's what my interpretation is. I could be wrong, but so I'm happy. I generally get the concerns around the tail, but I feel that point covers off that. And we've had a workshop on this discussion in regards to the economic development policy, and there is a plan, readily available, formulated.
So CEO, can I just ask, when is the new economic strategy going to be presented to us?
To the next council meeting, Matt, on the, I think it says in the June resolution, 29th of June council meeting. It is now ready to go, but we just couldn't get it to this agenda we missed by a day or two.
Question?
Yeah, question for the CEO. So if we rescind this motion today, it goes back to our council staff. How much workload are we throwing back on the council staff? Can this policy not just come back to the next council meeting with no work, along with the new Glenorchy prospectus, and then be presented on, and we can act on both at the one time? Are we actually creating a significant workload by going down the path we're going today, CEO, or not?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, but I don't see the point, because then we just go to defer this and bring it back to the very next council meeting.
But then we're going to have another council meeting where we're going to have council papers, we're going to be able to review the new Glenorchy prospectus, Prosperous Glenorchy plan, and then we can align the two, if you know what I mean, and if we identify something that's being rescinded, that shouldn't be rescinded in this, and it's not being picked up and action in the Prosperous Glenorchy plan, we can then debate and discuss and take appropriate action on it.
Would you accept a compromise that when they bring forward the new one next month, just in 4 weeks' time, that they put a copy of this in the back of it? You know, what was taken out, because everything that's going to be in the new plan is going to be kept in the new plan.
Yeah.
So that you can look at it side by side on your screen. And just save the officers a lot of time trying to answer this one.
That's like a minute policy, I think it sounds fair.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that, yes.
Okay, anyone else got any suggestions with that? Trying to find a compromise.
Yeah. So
current state of play.
So it just means you get to have this whole argument again next month.
It's still got a alternative motion being
Yes.
to defer, which probably needs to be voted upon.
So the defer got.
Yeah, so could I speak to the
Yeah.
first?
Still being discussed, yeah.
Yeah,
I lapsed because of lack of interest. We didn't get.
No,
it's been discussed.
It's been moved and seconded.
Second.
Oh, yeah,
Move-
yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Yes, so just talk about the deferral.
Yeah.
I understand, and that's why I raised it when I initially did. But I'm satisfied that if it's coming in June, and a lot of the detail that we would see, that is already in lieu or in that plan coming, or in alternative plans that are happening, as Alderman Cockshott has pointed out, I'm comfortable with that, so I wouldn't be wanting to defer it. I'm happy to proceed.
Thank you. So, sorry,
Can I just confirm the wording of Shane's motion that's on the floor before?
so we have to deal with,
So my motion was to defer this motion to the next council meeting to be presented along with the Prosperous Glenorchy plan.
Is that still the motion, or?
Yeah, well, it's been moved and seconded, so now we get, if there's no more debate, we can go and vote on this motion now.
Move on.
okay. I'll put that motion, all those in favour say aye.
Do we need to go back to Shane first?
Oh, yeah, well, do you want another conversation on it?
No, I've got nothing further to say. I've made my point, yeah.
Yeah, I thought he just finished off though. Yep, okay, so those in favour were Alderman Shane Alderton and Councillor Molly Kendall. Those against were Alderman Peter Riedler, Justin Stringer, Alderman Tim Marks, the Deputy, the Mayor, Alderman Stephen King, Alderman Stuart Slade and Alderman Josh Cockshott. So it's lost. We go back to the substantive motion. Do we need any further debate on the substantive motion? No, then I'm going to.
Move and second.
The mover was Alderman Marks and seconded Alderman Slade. Yeah.
Thanks.
So I'm going to put that motion as it is. All those in favour, raise your hand. Thank you, carried. All right. Okay, so it's not carried unanimously.
No.
So we have Councillor Molly Kendall against, and for we have Alderman Riedler.
I'm against as well.
Sorry? Oh,
The two against.
yeah, but I've got to go around the table. That was a break. I've got Alderman Riedler, Alderman Stringer, Alderman Marks, the Deputy, the Mayor, Alderman King, Alderman Slade, Alderman Cockshott, and we do have against. Yes, Alderman Alderton. So we've got 2 against. That means it's carried. Thank you for a very interesting debate.
Which will make next month interesting.
I hope by then we've got a grasp of it. Okay, item 10.1, policy update, advertising devices on council property. Who would like to take this one? Thank you very much, Alderman.
Yeah,
And second, I thank you, Alderman King.
yeah, thanks, Mayor. Look, it's pretty straightforward motion. It's only coming up for us given it's due Review, so I'm happy with all the changes. Nothing seeing the world on fire exciting, but it's more of a procedure and policy motion. So happy with all the recommended changes and updates to the current policy as it is.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah,
Yes, Alderman Riddler?
yeah, Mayor, I'm a little bit concerned about this. I don't mind the actual, why we're doing it. But because in the policy statement on page 44, 7, I think it is, it's one bit about the alcohol. Where did I see that? Might be a bit further there. We've got a clause there, which is talking about advertising on council property, but it seems to be the policy is very much orientated towards where a club or organisation leases council property, and we have digital signs, for example, and we talk about they've got to be inward facing. Doesn't talk about whether there's been had media there taking TV camera shots or anything, or drone shots even. And it says it says in one clause.
Page 44.
The CEO maybe to help us about, we will not approve a sign that is advertising tobacco, gambling, and something else. But I am a little bit concerned about that particular clause, wherever it is. Here it is, alcohol, tobacco and gambling, clause 7, on page 44. I think that clause should be deleted. I'll tell you why. If it's a legal vice in legislation, how can we say no? I know we may be against it, but I don't think we should have it in a policy document. If it's a legal vice.
Well, it does say deemed to be offensive or discriminatory.
Yeah, but after that, Alderman King.
Yeah, but
well, that is directly associated with alcohol, tobacco or gambling. I don't think we should have that. I'm against that for that reason, and I'm also against the policy where the signs for sports ground says inward facing. We don't talk about any media coverage, whether by TV, radio, or whatever, where the sign could be seen outside of that ground. And I'd be happy that this policy would be revisited to be a bit more expensive in relation to what's really behind the council intention as far as advertising on council land. And this one's very targeted against with sports grounds.
Yes, but also I think we have policies on advocating, appropriate behaviour around alcohol, gambling and smoking.
I understand that, Mayor.
Our Director Lou Chu has got his hand up, so.
Thank you, Mayor. I can just provide a little bit of context. So event signage isn't included in the policy. That's excluded. It's around, as it had outlined.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed the first bit.
Events, signage for events isn't part of this policy. This policy is around mostly around signage on sports ground and recreation reserves. It also specifically excludes commercial premises. So if you've got signage on a commercial premises advertising the goods that you might sell on that commercial premises, it's not covered by this policy either. So this policy, the reason why it says inward facing is, and it's generally inward facing, like when this is a policy which we're not very heavy handed with, but it's needed so that we can step in if we think that there's inappropriate signage. But on sports grounds and the like, as you'd imagine, clubs will get permission to put up their signage. That signage is supposed to be typically inward facing, so it's meant for the users of the ground. It's not meant to be outward facing, as sale advertising to the traffic that's passing by. It's meant for the visitors of that ground. Similarly with recreation reserves. So having the clause in there, the council has the ability to say no to signs that are deemed to be offensive or discriminatory or are directly associated with alcohol, tobacco or gambling. That's wording that came about in the review 4 years ago when this first went up as feedback from the elected members that they wanted the ability to say no to that sort of signage if we wish to, because of council's, I guess, stance on not wanting to promote those sort of activities. So there's nothing stopping anyone on private property doing those things, or as I said, commercial properties. This is really around on council's sports ground and reserves.
Well, thanks, Director.
Just in the right
I
context.
must say, I have to disagree with the overall context because there's no difference with that whether we drive down Main Road, Glenorchy, and there's signs for tobacco, alcohol, etc. So it's just,
Point
it's
of
a
order,
legal
mate.
advice. It's a legal advice.
Yeah.
I think it's legal
Sorry,
advice.
point of order. That's commercial premises. We're not talking about that in this policy. It's about sports grounds. When you say driving through Glenorchy, well, I haven't seen any sports grounds like East Street or whatnot have any tobacco or anything discriminative advertised.
Didn't say it did. Okay, all right.
Okay, Alderman Orton.
Okay, I have a similar question, which is on page 42.2. Advertising on council property is generally not permitted unless approved under limited circumstances such as council approved events or licensed activities to protect public amenity, safety and community expectations. I'll use this as an example. I've been to a football match at KG5, other places, and while I agree that the signs are clearly inward facing, but some of these signs are businesses advertising their businesses as such. So what do we as a council classify as limited circumstances? So how does that fall under the paragraph there which saying advertising on council property is not generally permitted?
Yes,
Through your mayor, it's effectively saying unless it's in accordance with the policy. So we generally won't let people just put up signage willy-nilly. It would have to be in accordance with this policy. So sports clubs have sponsors, and it might be Joe Blow's Builders, and they provide the club with funding. The club will come to us, we'll do them up to the GM saying Club XYZ wants to promote JB Builders as their sponsor on an inward-facing sign around the reserve. We send them back the email saying, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. You answered my question.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Alderman
through you,
Smith.
Mayor, just a clarity back to what you were talking about earlier with the associated with alcohol. So if a venue such as a club hotel wanted to sponsor a sports team and they wanted to put up their advertisement of the club hotel within a sports ground, is that associated with alcohol or gambling directly, or is that just third party?
Yeah, not necessarily. So if it's directly associated. So I think what we're getting at is you can't put up a sign that says, drink triple X beer.
Yes,
But you could put up a sign because
if it's a restaurant that serves alcohol, it's not promoting alcohol. So
that's right. The XYZ restaurant that sponsors you serves alcohol, that's not directly associated.
Can I ask a question? Political advertising, for example, the way the world's heading at the moment, if we were to have the yellow team or the orange team come out and put stop migration or, something like stop the votes, that kind of thinking, would we consider that offensive, or should we just have the wording alcohol and politics?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Well, that's why we've got the word deemed to be offensive or discriminatory as well. It gives us a little bit more leeway to specifically evaluate a sign like that. There definitely is political signage that is allowed because obviously politicians often sponsor different clubs as well. So there is, but if it came to a very specific message that was deemed to be discriminatory, such as, no immigrants or whatever your suggestion was, I mean, we perhaps may have that discussion of, that's erring down the line of discriminatory behaviour, so we might not allow that sign.
Thank you. Alderman King?
Without being contentious, are we heading towards fast food being added to this list as well? I mean, we see in England where they're banning the advertising of fast food. Are we going down that direction?
I mean, we haven't. I understand why you might consider it, but it would be opening another challenging conversation because there are several of those providers that sponsor clubs and activities.
And do salads.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this one? No?
Sorry.
Alderman Cockshutt?
I was going to say, going back to point 4, council may authorise the display of an advertising device in a commercial property where the advertising device is used to promote the sale of goods or services that are provided from that property. So you might have like a tobacconist have like a sign up or whatever. That's probably a bad example, but I'm saying like a hotel that could have like beer of the month or whatever it was. So that's covered in the policy from that perspective.
So if there's no other contributions, I need to go back to the mover who was Alderman Cockshott. Thank you.
No, I've got no further debate. No.
Okay, thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Right, we have a dissenter, Alderman Riddler.
No, I'll vote when you ask for the nays.
All right. Those against? Alderman Riddler? I just put it to the vote generally, so,
Well, no, you
all
should,
that, yes, I,
you should put the
yes,
yes
you are
vote
correct.
first. Yes,
Okay, all right.
and then if there's nays, no
Thank you for the
nays, then
lesson.
put the
I hear you.
dissenters that
All right, all those in favour? Right. Then we have Justin Stringer, Councillor Kendall, Alderman Marks, we have the Deputy Mayor, we have the Mayor, we have Alderman King, we have Alderman Slade, we have Alderman Cockshott, and we have Alderman Shane Alderton. It is carried. Item 10.2, waste and... Oh, big pardon, I haven't... Yeah, there I've forgotten it.
I'll vote no, and then if I didn't vote, then you ask, then you say who didn't vote at all, abstain. Okay, point of order.
Okay, those against. I thought I did that at the beginning in there.
No, it's the wrong way.
Okay, you're against it?
Yeah.
So please note that. Thank you, but it's still carried. Right. Item 10.2, waste management fees and charges, 2026-27. Who would like to move this one? Alderman King. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Kendall. Alderman King.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, the staff have done a ton of work on this and really broken things down clearly for where the increases have come from. Note the increase in the state government waste levy fee. I think it's gone up about, I've lost it now, 50% or something?
Yeah, 54.
54, yeah. So I understand the reason the state government does it, but it needs to be known for the community's sake that we aren't just raising these things for the sake of it. A lot of this is state government levies as well. So again, commend the staff on their work and move on.
Okay, Alderman Alderton.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a series of questions that relate to both the fuel surcharge in some places where it's being charged and the government waste levy. So first of all, I'll start with the fuel surcharge. So I notice here the recommendation says 3.5% for residential garbage, recycling, and 5.5% for residential FOGO. I'm just a bit concerned about that 5.5% figure when the FOGO is collected by the same service provider on the same day in the same size bin. Is that 5.5% correct, or are they overcharging us, and have we questioned this 5.5% fuel surcharge?
Yeah, I'll hand over to our
Yes,
director.
thank you, Director too.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. It's because the photos collection, we're being hit by both the collector and the processor. So they'll both hit us with a fuel surcharge due to the increasing fuel costs. So whereas our rubbish is going straight to our own landfill, so that's, we're wearing that, and the curbside recycling goes to a facility that hasn't charged a fuel surcharge. So, yep, you're right, the collector has, and that's across all three, but the FOGO's processor is also hit us with one.
Right, thank you for answering that. My other question relates to landfill. So a $76 government waste levy surcharge on clean fill. Now, is clean fill actually constituted as waste? Should we maybe be going back to the state government and asking for an exemption of that $76 waste levy on clean waste?
Through you, Mayor, again. Yes, it's a good point, and we certainly have, as have many other councils, and it's even worse when the fact that we're using clean fill as cover, which we require it as cover.
Right.
But no, we have tried, but no, they won't give us one. They do give us a blanket 10%, which is not just us, it's all the providers to help account for this fact, but it's far and away not enough to cover all the clean fill that comes in. So no, they do deem clean fill to be a waste product. If it comes through the toll booth gate, they add the levy to it unless we send it back out the toll booth gate, even if we use it as cover.
Right, sorry, a couple more questions. So green waste, so the levy applies to green waste, of course. What do we do with the green waste when it gets on the tip face? Does that go out to FOGO and get turned into FOGO or?
Yeah,
or not?
it's again a very good question. It does attract the levy because it comes into the gate, but we have this year, and we're engaging with some providers again for the coming year to send some of that back out. And look, to be fair, I guess that's what the levy was trying to do, which was to financially incentivise more separation and diversion. So now we're at a point where the chipping of the waste, of the green waste, and the transport of the waste to another processor is actually offset by the cost of the levy going back out. So yes, we are.
So it's not cheaper to ask for an exemption on the levy and pay 5.5% fuel surcharge to transport it to the FOGO location?
Yeah, so it's not the FOGO location, but we are actively moving some of that green waste back out so that we can apply for a levy rebate as it goes out, because as I was saying, now that it's $70, we're actually able to cover the cost of the shipping and the transport with the rebate of the levy. So a good chunk of our green waste we are intending to send back out the gate.
Right. And my final question through the mayor is in regards to the recycling services being relocated with inside the tip face. There's no sort of mention in this when that happens, what that cost will be to the community going through the toll gate.
Yes.
And disposing of their recyclables and coming back out. So how will that be charged? Will they be charged at the bootload cost or what?
Yeah, the reason it's not in there yet is because, to be honest, we haven't got a fee. If we do end up charging a fee, it will have to come back to council because it will be a change to the fees and charges. At the moment, we take all that recycling for free regardless. It's a complicated question because we don't want to disincentivize recycling either by having a fee that makes people go, well, stuff it, I'm just going to throw it all on the tip face. Quite complicated though, because our actual recycling charges are even more than our waste charges, so it does come at a significant cost as well. So we're still working through quite the best way to manage that. Whether or not there's a small minimum gate fee for recycling, if that's all you're bringing in, there might be a way to manage it. But that's the exact reason I put it in there, because we actually don't have a set proposal of quite whether we're going to charge or not yet. Either way, if we do, it will be low because we don't want to disincentivize.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, through you. Yeah, so I've got a question around the recycling centre relocation. So when do we have a plan?
We're currently building one of the big sheds as we speak, which is a big part of it. So it'll probably be sort of halfway through the year by the time we've got it all set up and the bins and the traffic marking and all the line marking and everything done.
So I'm just thinking in practice, because this is what I do. So I'll roll up with my recycling and I'll
get rid of it
first and then go up to the tip and get rid of it. So if I have to then pay for both on the way through, that's going to disincentivise recycling.
Yeah, look, it's
a lot.
There's definitely ways we can manage it. If the resident or the user is really concerned, they can just weigh their vehicle in, drop their recycling off, come back around, do the loop and weigh their vehicle in again. The reality is that every chance is your recycling is going to weigh so little that it will make virtually no difference to your bill, but we do appreciate there's going to be people that go, too bad, I don't want to pay anything, and there will be an option to do and it's a very short loop. The area that we're talking about is literally, you could throw a stone from the toll booth to the area that we're talking about. So if a resident was really concerned under that proposal, then they could certainly do a loop and come back.
I can see that this will be contentious at some stage in the future.
It may be, but look, we certainly wouldn't be the first person to have their recycling inside the toll booth gate. Hobart's got the same as well. Look, the main driver for it is really around, we've got our resource recovery and reuse strategy, and that's really our aim, is to get more recovery. This sort of setup greatly encourages better separation, because you're not just going up to a tip face and dropping everything in. You're going through a series of bins to go, okay, here's where cardboard goes, here's where rubbish goes, here's where glass goes, here's where steel goes. When all that's laid out in front of you, it's much, and the evidence shows that you're much more likely to get really good separation. You've got the tip shop, you can come and salvage directly from that same layout area as well. So far less just throwing it all on the tip face. We also face a little bit of cross-council advantages of having it where it is now, where it's not actually joking, but you hear from people going, oh yeah, we're playing in it with Glenorchy today, we've loaded up the trailer with our cardboard because you guys take it for free, and they'll come and dump it on us, which is a cost to our community as well.
It's it's going to be interesting. It's very much something that, you know, it's a very, you know, I guess people are using it. I think it's being used a lot. So that will be interesting as we move forward in the coming little while. I have also some questions around the increase and the fuel surcharge. Are they directly from Viola? Are they specifically they're giving us 3.5% increase in fuel, or is it just us giving ourselves a little bit of understanding?
No, that's come directly from Veolia, as well as Pure Living Soil, who's the FOGO processor. The process is they send in what they believe is a fair and reasonable adjustment and a methodology around it. That's reviewed internally. We look at things like fuel prices and the like. There's the recent Fair Work Act ruling, which means we have to give it consideration and actually monitor it every week, whether that stays fair and reasonable. Fortunately for us fuel buyers, fuel prices have come down gradually since then, so it's deemed to continue to be fair and reasonable. But yes, those prices have come directly from those operators, but with a rationale as to why.
So the increase in the surcharge are from Viola. So I just want to make it really clear that it's not. We're just on charging the increases that we're to bear.
Mayor, also just on that, we received a notice from Fair Work Commission to legitimise the transport companies' fuel increases, surcharges. So rather than them just saying we're going to charge you more because we've been hit, if they didn't have a rise and fall clause in their contract, we could probably refuse it. But Fair Work Australia actually approved a fuel levy increase that we have to abide by.
I just want to make that really clear, that was all. Because that's an 8.5% increase, you know, on top of the state levy. You know, it's every dollar's counting at the moment. So yeah, we just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by our community. So I think they're good questions. It is what it is. It's something that, you know, it's part of our core role. So we need to be doing it well, and we need to be doing it properly and looking at new ways of managing things. You know, it was good potentially having those skip bins there effectively for the recycling. Does that need to evolve? It probably will, but I think we just need to continue to keep our community on the front of mind of these sort of decisions. So, yep, thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Riddler.
Yes, Mayor. This is like in the workshop when we're talking about rate, still on the rate increase. This is exactly the same. We did talk about the state levy, about the signage at the start of the tip, and then possibly in our rate notice that, you know, these are what the increases in the state government levy has been over the last 2 years, and now it's jumping to this $70. It's a 54% increase, and I think we need to say, look, it's effectively not our fault, but we've got to collect it, and we're collecting it on behalf of the government. The other thing is, years ago, we used to pay $1,000 for the tip licence fee back in 1987 or thereabouts, and then it went to about $3,000. Now it's by tonnage. But I think, to the director through you, Mayor, we're going to put something as we discussed in the workshop about signage at the front of the tip about the cost, the extra cost that they're going to bear for that's been set by the state government.
Yeah, that's already on the signage, and will be on the new signage when we put the new fees up.
Great. And through you, Mayor, to the director, I noticed that the charities and charitable organisations are now going to get a fixed fee, and then they have to claim back the rebate rather than get an exemption. Is that rebate the full amount of what they paid, or is it a percentage?
It's the levy. They get a full rebate of the levy.
Just the levy. That's not very clear in the. I didn't read it that way. Is what page is that? It says, I did read it. They get a rebate. I didn't see that as a rebate of the levy. But they are paying a significantly lower amount per tonne anyway, mixed tonnage of
They
whatever.
pay the local residents reduced rate
Yeah.
and if they're eligible, they get the levy back from, it's a state government program, but they get the levy back from the state government. Yeah, paragraphs 17 to 20.
What page?
Paragraph 17 to 20.
What page is it?
60.
60. And whilst I've got questions, Mayor, the asbestos, particularly bootloads of stuff. I know it said somewhere here, I did read it, it's to be double wrapped. Are we going to have the toll booth operator ask every car that's got a trailer or a bootload, have they got any asbestos on board?
There's certainly signage alerting people to that, and it's obviously a legal requirement that you do. I don't believe the toll booth operator would ask every single vehicle whether they have asbestos or not. They have to declare it.
They don't.
Well, they should. They have to declare it because they absolutely have to.
Yeah, I know.
Consider the legal disposal.
Yeah. So we're going to do audits on there. We're going to check where they drive through and don't tell us, and they dump it on the tip face because we're exposing our operators on the tip face to significant risk.
They theoretically could, and I wouldn't deny that it happens. And I know of cases where they've been picked up, and then we've reviewed CCTV footage, provided it to take action through environmental health or the EPA, because it's a serious offence to do. But it's one reason why we keep the fees very low for asbestos. We run at a loss with regards to asbestos disposal, but for local residents, we keep it run at a loss to encourage people to do it properly. So it's actually no more expensive for them to dispose of it as general waste. It would be cheaper for them to actually just go and declare it as asbestos. And
I agree. Just as worrying about the risk to our workers up there and to also other public that are dispose back in their trailers up to the tip face. Right, thank you. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Any other comments? Yes, Alderman Marks?
Through you, Mayor, to the director, I've had a situation, actually it's happened twice now, that a friend of mine has had a tandem trailer of rubbish, gone to the tip, and as soon as they go to the gate, they said, you're commercial. When they're not commercial, they're just a public person. They should be axed. They were charged commercial rates when they should have been charged residential rates.
I think I recall those ones coming through. It can be a challenging situation for the toll booth, and I think they did have general guidance to do that at one stage because a commercial operator just claims that they're not, so that they get the cheaper rate. And so there was sort of a cut-off that, once you're coming in with a dual axle trailer, it's going to be deemed to be commercial. But we do appreciate that's not necessarily the case. So I think that we have that. That's been advised.
Yeah, we've actually noted that in that report that we will accept tandem, but it's generally when it's branded logo, considered commercial. But we've got to give discretion because we do get a lot of operators coming up saying, oh no, it's residential. We get a lot of people coming from outside going, this is for my grandmother or my mother. So yeah, that is a good point that you raise, and it is something that we're aware of, and obviously the toll booth operators have been, we've spoken with them or given that advice, and we put it in the report as well.
Thank you.
Well, just on that through you, Mayor, so what you're saying is that theoretically lawn operators that are on a franchise arrangement, whether it's VIP, gyms or Fox, etc., that are badged trailers, are they being like commercial, or is the green waste in there treated as residential? Because it'll be residential. Most of it will be residential.
It's commercial activity, so it's their business, so it's considered commercial price.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to the staff. It's an incredibly difficult time to be in waste and being slugged from multiple directions with price rises. And, as we're seeing, everyone's got thoughts on waste. So not to get too operational, but just checking in that when that change happens, that the recycling goes backstage, that there'll be resourcing for the sort of potential psychosocial hazards of copping a fair bit of flack potentially for that.
Yeah, and we've actually got some specific training for the staff on those issues.
Great.
Okay, any further questions or statements? No? We'll take it back to you, Alderman King.
No, thanks, Mayor. I think we're good.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to put it to the vote. All those in favour? Am I correct? It's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. And now we're going to move on to 10.3, which is the Tolosa Place-Based Renewal Engagement Update from the 24th of May 2026. Oh, Alderman Cocksher, yes. Oh, there's lots of hands up here. I'm sorry about that. Deputy? Seconder? Alderman Cocksher.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I think this is a very strong result about the Tolosa Park. I think you'd attest that in regards to 3,500 responses, it's probably the best response we've had for the community in a project in this term, if not even longer, and very close. 19 votes, in fact, separating 1 and 2. So there might have to be a hybrid, you never know, but I think it's great to see the community is so passionate about this, and it is a major space for us and one of our strategic projects. So today is purely just noting the feedback about what option the public would like in the community, giving it to the team to go away and start implementing those plans and procedures and getting to come back to council to approve the final plan. So as you can see on the screen, it does say endorse option 1, but if anyone has any objections, I guess let us know. Obviously, if you haven't voted yet, it's too late. So hopefully there's no stolen election signs at the front. But terrific participation by the community, and I think it'll be a fabulous project for the city.
Thank you. Alderman King.
This is a wonderful response. To get this many people respond to a survey, I don't know what we've done right this time, but we should do it again and again. Sadly, somebody wins, somebody loses. That's the nature of this. We're not going to make everyone happy, but we will make a lot of people happy because this will be better than what we've got. So for those who didn't get what they want, hopefully you'll like what we get because it will be brilliant. Whichever choice it was, it'll be brilliant. So thank you to the staff for their effort in getting people to review this and the promotion that we've had, the video that we had. Well done to the staff on the video, and I look forward to the end result.
Thank you. Deputy.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you. Yeah, I totally agree. What a great result. To the 3,500, it really does show the love for that area, and I think that's something that it's probably been, I think, until I think this term we really pushed it really hard around the table about Tolosa being a really, a crowning jewel, so to speak, of our city. Much loved, and it certainly, the dam development was fantastic, and we're looking for stage 1, but this is us putting a stake in the ground, and seeing a playground up there and investing in there, putting council funds into that investment up there. So it's showing that there is, I think, long-term future for a really, really great park. It's not just young people, it's the grandparents that come along and the parents have time to sit down and have a chat about whatever. It's all that community stuff, which I think is really important. So, but yes, what a half are going to be happy, half aren't going to be, but I'm sure the other half that won't will still enjoy and take them, the best of what it is out there. So it's a great result.
Alderman Alderton, because that's my bad, I missed him up.
Thank you, Mayor. As long as everybody gets to have a say, that's all that matters. Yes, once again, great result. Really thank so many of the community for being involved. Over 3,500, that's a great result. For those that didn't get option 2, I just want to remind them we have some great play spaces at Giblin Reserve, Dangerfield, Roseneath. This is a nature play space, something we don't have, so it's something different. So everybody that voted for option 2, I ask you to embrace it. I mean, half the play space hasn't changed anyway. It's just half of the play space that's different. But I'm excited about the fact that we're going to have something different, something unique in a nature play space, which is something a lot of other councils haven't considered or implemented in their municipality.
Okay, I think it's, yes, Alderman Slade.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, I'm very pleased with the outcome. It's really good, the fact that what it showed me is also that we're not a council who's running around trying to work out, we're being rude. Do we put something controversial on the roadway? Do we put something controversial on the hill? Do we make something controversial around the CBD? This is a open space area in which people can see how valuable it is to the community, how valuable it is to their children and other people. This particular spot for my fellow alderman back in the 80s was the third most visited spot in Tasmania. Now, it'd be nice if that returns back. That's what it was then, when it was the third most visited spot. And to be able to have an outcome like this, that's each time, and I see a photograph or something from, in particular, Kelvin, who takes the photographs of what that place is growing. A couple of years' time, this is going to be spectacular, this place. It'll be on scale with anything else in Australia. And we're really leading the way there. But don't move away from the fact that we don't have to build major Lego programs to get our community involved. What we've got to do is just have programs that everybody feels comfortable with, and people feel very comfortable with open space areas in which people can participate in. And I'm really pleased that we've returned to that sort of environment.
Do you want to say anything, Director Chu?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would add one point for the option 2 voters. We have gone back to the supplier, and there's a very large slide unit which we can actually add to the big timber climbing structure, which can fit in the design without affecting the layout too much. So we're proposing to incorporate that so that
So everyone.
yeah, and as our Alderman pointed out, about half of it's the same anyway. So all the multicultural elements, the games of the world elements, a lot of the accessible elements are consistent across both designs. So yeah, you won't get the Ninja Warrior course, which I think was popular in the other one, but a big slide can certainly be added to the climbing unit, which brings them a little bit closer.
It doesn't say we're not going to get a Ninja place in another somewhere else.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. We all want to have a say on this one. Yeah, I love the concept of the collaborative community, and I really, I was a bit worried because I once had a photographer tell me that the way to tell a good photo was to just look at a thumbnail, and and so looking at the thumbnails, I was like, because I was very sold on the nature play one myself, and looking at the thumbnails, I was worried that if people were just kind of zooming through, they might go for option 2, just thinking that was kind of the brighter one, without going into the detail of immersing themselves in what the experience might be like. So really excited that we got the outcome that we did, and I've never seen such invested community members coming and bailing me up in cafes and having an opinion on either one. So to hear that we got the nature play plus a bonus slide, I'm very happy.
Excellent. Any other contributions?
Just a question,
Yes?
Mayor, if I could, just wondering what sort of fish we're getting down the road in the pond.
Still don't have fish in the pond, but we do have a magnificent walkway across the.
Get a crocodile and something big to tuck it through.
And I think supporting all the comments of my colleagues, it is one of the most beautiful parks. It's massive. You can still play adult ninja all around it as well. You want to run around the park. I don't mean that sort of adult, I mean grown-ups can play it as well. It's just a place full of memories for those of us who've grown up around that park, and it's such a great place for big family celebrations and catching up with cousins and creating memories for the future. So I'm very proud of the work the council and the council officers, obviously in particular, have done with this park. It's a gift to the city and to all of southern Tasmania for that matter, because it's quite accessible for everyone in the south. Okay, now I'm going to go back to Alderman Cockshut for moving it.
I'm all good for any discussion. I think it's a very positive result, like the fellow elected members have said. So fantastic, and look forward to seeing it get boots in the ground, shovels in the ground, I should say. So cool.
Okay, thank you. Right, that ends the discussion. I'm going to put that recommendation to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And then I'm on to, we're moving on to governance, yes. And 11.1, policies update, footpath trading, nature strip and retaining wall. Oh, thank you, Alderman Cockshut and Alderman Marks.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Obviously, it's in regards to footpaths, nature strips, and retaining wall. The reason it's come up to council is because it's due for its 4-year cyclical review, and there's been no further changes given that all policies are working appropriately and as intended as per council officer advice. So, in terms of that, no change of content.
Thank you. Alderman Marks, did you want to say anything? Anyone here like to comment on these ones? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to say a few things, just trying to remember which one it was on. Yeah, so I was really happy to see, you know, it emphasised in these policies that you can choose to do your own nature strip and have your own plantings in there, and the guidance around what kind of plants were low water and fire resistant, which is great because I don't know if many people sort of know about that option at council. So that was really good. You are able to plant out your own nature strip if you want. I noticed the use of synthetic turf is in here, and obviously that's allowing people to use synthetic turf on their own nature strips. I know that around Australia, councils are moving away from the use of synthetic turf. I think there's 3 reasons. One is the end of life waste issue that it creates. Another is the microplastics sort of going into the environment throughout the life of the synthetic turf. And also the third thing is the hotspot that it creates. Of course, it's lower investment because you don't have to water it and mow it, but on balance, I think it's seen as more harmful to the environment. So I wondered, like, I'm happy for it to stay in here, obviously, as people's own choice on their nature strips. But I wondered, is there anywhere in other council policies, or does council have a policy for internal use of synthetic turf, and would we look at reducing that or removing it in future?
Thank you very much, Director Marshall.
Yeah, so thanks for the question. Yeah, we don't have a policy on the internal use of it. We have, you would have seen, we have used it in the past. Certainly, I guess, with any project, we kind of look at what products are out there. So if we were to go out to market, we'd have a specification saying it had to meet certain criteria. So I'm certainly happy to take on board any suggestions you have if there's certain products we really should be avoiding. In terms of on nature strips, yeah, I guess the intent was to try and look at beautifying the street a little bit and say instead of having bare patches of dirt and people aren't going to water it, maybe that's a better outcome. But I take your point in regards to some of those other environmental concerns, and I'm happy to have a look at what we've got in our own specifications in terms of the products that we're using to make sure that we're kind of getting the best that's out there.
Great, I'm happy with that, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment? Yes,
just a question, Mayor, through you. I guess a lot of there wasn't a lot of change, if that makes sense. So I guess was there any sort of other standards or any other new practices that we considered to sort of add in, or we're obviously happy with?
For these policies? Yeah. So the feedback we had from staff who operate on these policies day to day said these 3 were all working really well. We did a lot of consultation 4 years ago with these, and so we didn't think it needed to be rehashed. If we're going to make major changes, we'd go back out to consultation. Given we haven't had any major issues with the pilot, that probably makes sense. Should be.
Yep, no, that's good. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, any further commentary? Sorry, Alderman Alderton.
Thank you. So I just have a question in regards to footpath trading, and have we had any direct feedback from businesses that have taken up the option of footpath trading? Are they happy with the policy? Have they suggested any issues with the policy or anything?
No, so the feedback we have from staff is there haven't been any issues. The bigger issues come through the planning process more so than this process. That can sometimes be prohibitive in terms of what they want to do with footpath trading. This policy itself hasn't really caused any issues for shop owners, but there are kind of some other hoops they need to go through in terms of the planning process as well.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? No. Then in that case, I'm going to put the motion, the recommendation, back to Alderman Cockshott. I'm not having a good night tonight.
No further discussion.
No, thank you. Now I'm going to put the motion or recommendation. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. And we move on to item 11.2, is it? Yes. 11.2. Oh no, sorry, 11.3. So we're moving on to
Public art policy.
Sorry, can you just give me the page of that? I'll send to.
That's page
159.
1.2. So the policies update on public art. Who would like to move this one? I note it is for rescinding. Oh, thank you, Alderman Stringer.
I'll second it, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Alderman Alderton. Alderman Stringer.
Nothing much to speak to it there, other than wanted to rescind the public policy, arts policy, because the outdating, and we're trying to clean up the policy process, so this is one of those steps.
Thank you. Anyone else like to add to this? No? Oh, yes, Councillor Kendall?
Yeah, I don't want to rescind our arts policy because I think it's not, I don't think we're the experts around the table to make the call about whether we are still a city of the arts or not. And I totally got the quote in there, which was that council recognises that the best practice for public art outcomes can only be achieved through the allocation of adequate budgets, and will plan for the development and delivery of public art opportunities in our annual capital works budget. I think the reason we're rescinding it is that we need to invest in it. And yeah, I still really believe in having an arts policy, even though if that just looks like a scaled back version of what we can afford. But I think we have put our arts area under the squeeze, and I think, you know, Meter Arts Centre's done a great job in delivering a business plan and cutting expenses, but I think that rescinding having an arts policy will just further take funding out of the arts, and I think we need it more than ever.
Okay, any further comments?
Yeah,
Debbie?
thank you, Mayor. Just a question, similar lines, and so obviously we're doing a lot of murals that are popping up around the city, which would, I presume, would come under the public art policy. And it seems like they're going to happen more and more because of you know, the deterring of graffiti and all that, you know, positive, and you know, it brightens up the city and things like that. So I guess my question is that is this policy of public art murals and that type of thing being captured in another policy somewhere? And if so, can you give us some confidence that that type is still, if we rescind this, that it's captured elsewhere? That's my question.
Yeah, just to provide a bit of context, the reason we're rescinding this is originally when this policy was written, it was to try and lock in a certain amount or percentage of capital funds to art projects, and it was suggested it should just be across the board flat rate percentage. In reviewing this policy a number of times and bringing it to workshops over the years, I'm talking back probably prior to this council, the council recommended that rather than have a flat rate, rather that art projects be treated like any other capital works and be put in the budget and bid for appropriate pieces for appropriate places rather than just a flat rate. The policy for alternatives that you mentioned, Deputy Mayor, is it captured anywhere else? In our strategy and annual plan, we do have actions to provide a clean and safe city. So, and under that, there's using street art to beautify certain areas, and the annual plan also captures that. Our maintenance program has a certain amount for maintaining the art that we've got, which the policy also tried to capture. So on that basis, we're rescinding the policy because we believe it is covered in a number of other places. And I might get our director, Deputy CEO, to provide some further information on that.
So we do actually cover art as part of our existing community strategy that was approved in 2022, I think February 2022 through council. We then action that through the annual planning process each year in terms of what we are funding and delivering in any one year. So we felt that the public art policy did not actually add anything to what we are already doing, and we're doing that through delivering the existing community strategy through the annual plan process and the budget process.
Yes, Alderman Alderson.
So reading my papers, I was of the understanding this policy really only existed to support the public arts oversight group, and I agree with getting rid of policies that are overrepresented in multiple plans and strategies and areas of council. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer to rescind this policy if it's covered elsewhere within council business. I can't see the sense in having multiple policies that cover the same item or area.
Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Kennedy, just a question.
Yeah, following question about who decides, going forward, who decides what murals and what artists are chosen and what public spaces are,
So
arted?
usually what we do is go out to the art community, and number one, I mean, art is very personal, so there'll be some artists that will be interested in having an expressions of interest for particular art and not in others, and then we tend to bring those designs back and discuss them with council, whether it's a workshop or through emails or whatever. We tend to bring that back, but art is, we tend to go out with the community. We tend to have a brief that we want, which is community, create a mural here. You know, obviously there's design specifications in that, but then it's just a matter of the arts community themselves.
So, yeah, just to clarify, in terms of decision making, it's elected members, or is it the management within the communities team, or?
No, we would usually bring it back. We'll make a recommendation, but we don't really bring it back unless it's already funded through the annual plan, in which case we would assume that the elected members have already approved the program. So then it would be a management decision. But it wouldn't be one that we wouldn't make without informing at the very least. It's not something that's done without discussion and informing.
So the last few, I was commissioned by a particular artist and it started to fall off the wall. So for some time that has been due for decommissioning and recommissioning. So the same artist has come up with a proposal and painted that wall because they did the original concept, so they re-proposed a new one. We've also had some proposals put to council, like the Tas Transport Museum. So those murals were actually proposed by the Tas Transport Museum. So they actually commissioned the artist and put those on the walls because they leased that building from council.
Alderman Riddler?
I've got to go.
Oh, okay, no worries. Thank you. Anyone else? No? Well, I personally think that this is a sign of a really good council, in that a regular review of your policies and your procedures and making sure they're fit for purpose. As I said before, the gentle art of Swedish death cleaning, it's like, does this fit us? Is this still relevant? Is it appropriate in this day and age? It's like, you know, legislation should be updated far more regularly than it is because it's so complex. But clearly in the reasons for rescission, at item 6, it says the policy is operational in nature and includes the operation of a public art oversight group. This group is no longer in place and the policy does not reflect current organisational arrangements. Matters of this type are generally managed through procedures or guidelines rather through council policy. And I think your statement about, you know, we're not art experts. I guess neither are all the staff, but we do have quite a few who have arts backgrounds. And as the director said, they are consulting with the Moona Art Centre plus other artists and staff who are in the artistic field. So it's just another policy that's duplicated in other places. I am a firm believer that arts makes a society. Not everything can be just about sport. Arts has a very important place in civilization, even in just expressing history. But, so I'm very much in favour that there's no point having a menu when half of the ingredients aren't there, or you never sell the thing anyway. So everything needs refreshing, and this is a perfect example. So I'm more than happy to see it rescinded if it has no longer serves its purpose. Okay, now I've got to go back to Alderman Stringer.
No more further comments, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, in that case, I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour? Right, those against? Okay, Councillor Molly Kendall, against. And can I have the hands back up again for those in favour? It's everybody else. Justin Stringer, Alderman Justin Stringer, Alderman Tim Marks, the Deputy, the Mayor, Alderman King, Alderman Slade, Alderman Cockshott, and Alderman Alderton. Thank you, and I'll just note there that Alderman Riddler has left the room. So that means it's carried. And we're now going to move on to item 12, I believe. No?
11.3.
No,
11.3. 11.3 on page.
11.3.
167.
Yes, thank you. Here we go. For some reason I thought I was looking for a blue sticker. So 11.3 is the council fees and charges, and we have a report here, another one for recommended schedule of fees and charges for the 2026-27 financial year. Who would like to move this one? Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Yeah.
Seconder, thank you, sorry. Alderman King. Okay, Councillor Kendall.
Yeah, so I think this is fairly straightforward. It's the proposed update to council fees and charges for 2026-27. Yeah, we're in tough financial times, and as mentioned, we're being slogged by many fees and charges raises, so happy to open it for discussion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Councillor King.
I just think as Councillor Kendall said, it's straightforward. If you read it, it's, just continues on from the previous report. So,
any other discussion? No? Do you want to have anything else to say? No? In that case, can I put it to the vote?
Yep.
Yes, all those in favour? Carried unanimously, thank you. And 11.4 is financial performance report to the 30th of April 2026. Thank you, Alderman Cockshott. Thank you, Alderman Marks. Alderman Cockshott.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Look, still in a favourable position to budget, although very, very tight margins here. We're talking 0.1%, so only $58,000 in the green. So obviously costs are going up, but we're still on track of our budget as expected. Operational revenue was $78.2 million, $24,000 unfavourable this time variation, and expenditure was $65.9 million, with $82,000 favourable variation to budget. In regard to capital works, like we've mentioned before, the Glenorchy pool, we've completed 82% of the physical works under the contract, and out of the $6.5 million for budget, $4.5 million has been spent so far. So there's further details on the report, but yeah, things are starting to get tight, and obviously external factors like the war, cost of fuel and other commodities, it's definitely playing to our results here. So hopefully we can finish off eventually strongly.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy.
Mayor, just a question, just regarding the rates, obviously we're down, are there, in terms of rates outstanding, are we chasing a lot of rates that are outstanding at the moment, or are we just waiting for the last payments to come in, so to speak?
Mayor, I did check on this to see if we had a lot of outstanding rates, and no, not any more than usual. So it is just part of the cycle.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you.
Thank you. Any other contributions? No? Then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. 11.5 is procurement exemptions. Who would like to move this one? Councillor Kendall, thank you. And a second, goodness, thank you. I'll go with Alderman Slade. Thank you very much. Councillor Kendall.
Yeah, I'm happy to open this one for discussion. It's about procurement exemptions for benchmark estimating software and for the tendering platform that we use for an extension for a year.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion?
Answer accordance to what we normally do when you can't get it anywhere else, so, yeah.
Okay. Anything else, councillor Kendall?
No.
Thank you. I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Yeah, it's carried unanimously. Thank you. And now, I believe we're up to item 11.6. Notices of motion or questions on notice or without notice. Being none, before I close the meeting to the public, I just want to apologise for not being as switched on as I should have been with earlier voting. I guess that's my humanness, and I apologise, and I'll make sure, I'll definitely try not to do that again. Okay, so thank you. And now we're going to adjourn the open meeting. We thank you for your attendance, for watching, and feel free to tell all your friends to watch a replay. As you can see, it can be quite interesting sometimes at these council meetings.
Ad-free.
Ad-free. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back and view us again next month. Am I doing?
Motion to move to close.
Oh, you're ready to do the notice. Okay. Notice to close. Thank you, Alderman Alderton and Alderman Slade. Second that motion. And now, time to say goodbye, because I'm going to put it to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Just
Oh, we're closed.
Who was this gentleman?
staff member.
He was never named.
He was.
Mystery man.
Okay, who was it?
Evan Brown, he's the Manager of Environment Sustainability.
We don't get the people in the cheap sector
It can be.
His name was in there.